So Disney announced Coco 2 today, the sequel to the movie that came out in 2017. And I gotta tell you, I'm super depressed that they're actually making a sequel. I love the original movie, and I think it's a really, really bad idea. So today we're going to talk about the first movie, the potential sequel, and why they need to kill that film before it comes out. But first, please like, subscribe, and share. Anything you can do will really help my channel grow. In 2017, the first Coco came out. It was a Pixar film for Disney about Miguel who has to travel to the land of the dead to help solve the issues that are going on with his family. In this movie, they cover the idea that you can exist in the land of the dead as long as somebody on Earth is remembering you. The movie had some heavy ties about family, about not giving up on those who have done bad in the past, about relearning about what actually happened in the past, and doing everything you can in order to save your family. There's heavy ties into Mexican culture, heavy ties into Mexican food and music. It was really colorful, and overall, an amazing film. I saw Coco 1 in the theaters, and I'll tell you what, it was a major tearjerker. The movie brings up the thoughts of those who we've lost, both family members and close friends, and the importance of remembering them, remembering the good and the bad, but just keeping them alive in our hearts. It focused heavily on the Dia de los Muertos and all the cultural aspects thereof. The power of music, the power of family were huge aspects in this film. And while I won't go into the entirety of the plot, the main storyline was completely solved by the end of this movie. Miguel was able to solve the mysteries of the past and save his great-great-grandfather before his great-grandmother forgot him, because she was the only one that remembered him up until that point. As I said, all problems for that family were solved. They came together, both the living and the dead, in the final scene of the film, enjoying their food, their music, and their Dia de los Muertos together. Yes, the story was complete. Coco, the namesake of the story, was his great-grandmother, and she lived just long enough in order to bridge the gap between the old generations and the new. But she did survive long enough to accomplish that. Yes, she solved all the problems with the help of Miguel and going into the land of the dead to solve all the mysteries. So why do they need a sequel? Well, the first obvious idea is that Disney wants to cash in. Coco made a buttload of money. It was really well done, very, very colorful, and one of Pixar's best movies in the last 15 years. So on paper, it makes sense to make a sequel. It was well liked. It has a 97% currently by the viewer audience on Rotten Tomatoes. And even the reviewers gave it in the upper 80s. So a movie that made almost $1 billion to begin with really heavily positive reviews, why wouldn't Disney make a sequel? Well, the most obvious reason is that the story was complete. The story was perfectly encapsulated in that original film. There was a beginning, a middle, and the end, and frankly, everything was solved for the family. And it just seems like the sequel would be forced. Because everything had been solved, you're going to have to interject a problem in order for them to fix it. Because the problems that the family had at the beginning have all been resolved. That family was living with their successful shoe business, and their new grandson wanted to be a musician. And everyone was happy, including those from the land of the dead. So they'll introduce some sort of problem where Miguel will have to go back into the land of the dead. And I'm sure visually it'll be as amazing as the first one, possibly better. The movie will be made almost 12 to 13 years after the original one was made on the computer. Yes, and as we all know, computer animation has only gotten better over the last few years. So I imagine this one will look all that much better. Just as well as Avatar 2 looked much better than the first Avatar. But at least that one had some more storyline to cover because not all the issues had been resolved at the end of the first film. Look, my major problem with Pixar is that they're just rolling out sequel after sequel. I mean, we have, Toy Story 5 in pre-development? They used to be the cutting edge of computer animation, and now they're just one of the many other ones. Not that the other ones are doing well. I mean, we have that new Shrek reboot as well. But the difference is at the beginning, Pixar made all original stories. Every single movie, especially at the beginning, all were a new story in a new type of universe. Bugs, toys, cars, emotions, all had their own original story. And yeah, they've been pumping out sequels ever since. But Coco felt like a one and done. The entire storyline was encapsulated in that 90-minute film. So they're really forcing this one down our throats. And as I've seen on the internet today, a lot of people are really excited. And why not? Coco is a well-loved film throughout many audiences. But that's just it. If you add more and you add something bad, then you're going to just bring down the first movie. Coco was a perfect story, and it doesn't need to be added. The story of a boy traveling to the land of the dead in order to save his family and bring them back together doesn't really fit as well as when the boy has to go back and save his family and bring them all back together again. So I'm telling you, Disney, please don't make Coco 2, because if you do, it might just ruin the entire Coco series. And don't say I didn't warn you. Remember me. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out those other videos on screen now.